Welcome to Time Travel Coins. I'm a coin collector and I'm going back in time, showing you my coins from my collection for all the different monarchs of the United Kingdom and England to see how far back I can go. Last week I was showing coins from the later period of Queen Victoria's reign, and this time I will be showing coins from the earlier period with the different younger head varieties. So first up, I'll show you the farthing. Sticking with the Britannia reverse there, 1886. So this is very high grade, possibly around uncirculated or near there. Still got a bit of lustre on there. And there's the obverse showing you the bun head. It was called the portrait of Victoria. Now this a very young looking Victoria, and this actual portrait ran all the way up to 1895 when she was an old lady, so wasn't much of a likeness by that time. I'd say probably about £5 for this coin. As I said in previous videos, farthings are generally cheaper, the more available in high grade. But there was two types of bun head, and I'll just bring in another earlier farthing from 1865. Now this one's got dark tone in, so I'm going to have to see if I can bring this into focus. The subtle differences. So the later one is called the aged head, and it's just got a slightly thicker neck on it, and then there's kind of a brooch as well at the bottom of the coin, and that brooch is more visible on the older version, the first version of the bun head, first portrait, but it's only partially visible on the second portrait. So that's a quicker way of identifying them. Here's the halfpenny. Another aged head version of the coin. Not in as good condition, this coin. It's got a bit of wear on it. Still better than average, better than the average you'll find in bulk lots. I'd say this is roughly fine grade. 1877, Britannia reverse. There's a slight difference now in the Britannia reverse. You'll see that there's a lighthouse and a ship in there. I prefer this version actually. Probably pick this up for a few pounds, this coin. Just to show you the first portrait. Yeah, this one, halfpenny, is 1861, and I'd say this one's in extremely fine grade. See a lot more detail on the coin. 1861 was the year Prince Albert died, Victoria's husband, and she was very much devastated by that. She shut herself away from public life and wore black for the rest of her life. Moving up to the pennies. Nice detail on this coin. It is hard to find pennies in higher grade. They were transacted a lot more and transacted for a long time. So if you think these bronze pennies started in 1860, this particular one's not from 1860. This is from 1888. But they could have been circulating for up to 100 years. So sometimes if you get them in bulk lots as just taken out of change from decimalisation, in 1971, sometimes there can be just flat discs almost completely worn away. I'd say this is in a good, very fine condition, possibly extremely fine condition. Here's the reverse, 1888. Go. You can get a better look at the lighthouse and the ship there on the horizon. And you'll see that the tide there is low tide. That's normal for Victorian coins. High tide would meet where the legs cross on Britannia. I like this coin, it's got nice detail and it's seen a little circulation, but sometimes I don't mind that. So that coin's probably worth about £20. Show you the earlier one, first portrait. Again, lovely detail on this, I'd say extremely fine grade. Doesn't have a luster, but I don't mind that. First has got some toning on it, which isn't great, but this is 1860, the first year of the bronze pennies. Again, probably about £20 for that coin. So prior to 1860, we had copper coins. Here is the smallest I have. It's not a farthing, it's actually a half farthing. So that'll be 1/16, sorry, 1/8 of a penny. This one's minted in 1844. Here's the farthing. That's the half farthing, probably very fine condition, worth about £4. This farthing is 1854, again, probably say very fine condition. Still have Britannia on the reverse for the farthing. We've lost the lighthouse and the ship. Made out of copper, but larger than the bronze farthing and heavier. So the value of the coins was more related to the metal value in copper. I'd say about £6 for that half farthing. Here's the halfpenny. So this is a young head, and it's not actually called the bun head. Apparently that's not a bun at the back of a head. I'm no hairdresser, but it's something else. If someone can let me know what it actually is in the comments, appreciate it. This one, we've got the dates on the obverse for a change, and it's 1858, 2,472,900 minted. In good condition, extremely fine, I'd say, condition, this coin. There's Britannia. It actually says Britannia on the reverse as well now. Lovely detail on that. That coin, probably about £20. And then the last copper coin was the penny. Again, 1858. 1,559,000 minted. Same reverse. good, very fine grade. Still, you can pick these up quite cheaply. I'd say £7. They're more frequent in high grades because they simply weren't circulated for long enough to wear out. Okay, just clear the table because we're running out of space there. We'll now move up to the silver coins and we'll start with the 3p or threepence. Sterling silver, 92.5% silver. Same design as the Maundy and the later Victorian 3p and Edward VII, and all the way up to 1919 George V kept this design. This one is one of the first ever coins minted because it's minted in 1838. I'd say it's in extremely fine condition. I'd probably value it about £60. Next we have, looks identical in size, but it's the Groat. We know that because the reverse, it's got 4p written on there, and it's Britannia, so it's referred to as the Britannia Groat. This one is 1855. Probably about just fine grade, I'd say that. And value about £8. Now up to the 6p. Get it in good focus. So this 6p is 1884. It's extremely fine again, and got the denomination on the back there, the reverse, the wreath. Now there was two slightly different variations of this portrait, and I'll bring in an earlier one. Only subtle differences, slightly different shape. So the one next to it there is the first portrait, and that is a 6p minted in 1853. I'd say both these coins worth roughly £30 each. The earlier one had the same reverse. Shilling. This one's got a few edge knocks on it. Still decent detail on there. 1882. And there is reverse. Whoops. Here's an earlier one, slightly high grade. We'll lose the edge knocks. Say extremely fine condition. This one minted in 1842. Probably value that at auction £60, and the other shilling about £35. Now, florins. It wasn't standard young head on these. This was the Gothic head. Absolutely beautiful design. Intricacy there on the clothes of Victoria is wonderful. If you can see that. So this one was called the Godless Florin because it didn't have the word in Di Gratia or DG to indicate by the grace of God, and that's led to quite a number of complaints. The legend, I mean, the reverse is fantastic as well. The legend on there is in all in English, 1/10 of a pound. It was his first attempt at decimalisation to introduce this florin. So all these, well, this Godless Florin is dated 1849. I think there is a rarer one dated 1848, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Lovely coin. So the design was slightly changed after that. Here's a later Gothic florin. We now have Roman numerals for the date. So this is dated 1873, if you know your Roman numerals. It's just there. So that'll be MD 1500 CCC. Add 3 more hundreds on to get 1800. Then you've got LXX for 70, and then 3. That's how you work it out. Top of the class for me. First still has the English on, 1/10 of a pound. With the Irish heart, 3 lions, Scottish lion, and the flowers, the rose, the thistle for Scotland, and the shamrock for Ireland. Shame it's got a few scratches on the obverse here. I don't know if you saw those. Just move it around, just in the front of the face of Victoria. But that's why I got it for cheaper. Value wise, I think the Godless one is in great condition, about £130. Even with those scratches on, I think about £65 for the 1873 florin. Next we have the half crown. Coin has been cleaned. Can you see the scratches? But excellent detail on there. Date on the obverse 1884. One of the more common dates for young head half crowns, but it is very difficult to get them with this amount of detail on them without spending a fortune. So I'm quite pleased with this. And there's the reverse, the shield reverse. Now this coin has another problem. If you look on the edge, I'll just move it around there, get that into focus. You can see that dark spot there. If I spin it around, there we have the other one. So this is also not only just been cleaned, it's an X mount as well. It's called a pin mount, so it's not too affect the obverse and reverse of the coin, but just the edge. All that considered, probably about £50 still to get. I think that coin, I think I'll get that at auction. We'll move up to the crown. Here's a young head crown. Date on this one is 1844. Got quite a bit of toning on this coin, so it's difficult to pick up on the camera, but I think you can just see it there. Victoria Dei Gratia, Grace of God. Nice detail on this coin. Most crowns, one of the first areas to wear away is the centre of that shield on the reverse. So if you've got good strong lines dividing up the shield between the three lines, the Scottish line and the Irish harp, you know you've got a decent grade. And I think this one's roughly extremely fine. It has edge lettering. Around the edge there. So if I can bring that into focus a bit better. So we've got Anno Regni VIII, so the 8th year of her reign. And that little mark afterwards is a star stop. You can get cinquefoil stops as well. Now this one, unfortunately, has got a bit of a repair on the edge I spotted. Just, if I can just find it. Just there after Regni, if I just bring that back. Move that around. I don't think you can, it comes out on the camera. But I think it's been very skillfully repaired. I think it was an X-mount. Now there was another crown, and it's probably one of the most visually stunning coins of the United Kingdom, designed by William Wyon. It is the Gothic crown, and I do have one. And here we go. Absolutely beautiful design, so intricate. Bring that in closer. You can see it's got the standard shield, standard reverse with the Irish harp, 3 lines, Scottish rampant line that we've seen on many other coins, plus the flowers, emblems, the thistle, rose, shamrock. But the intricate detail behind that and the Gothic style of writing just makes this coin look so beautiful. Now I'm showing you the best side of this. I can't afford a really good Gothic crown, so I picked this one up with a very heavy discount. I'm going to show you the terrible obverse and the edge there. Look at that, it's been polished to within an inch of its life. Whoever previously owned this, I've got mixed feelings about this. If they hadn't have polished it, I would have never have owned it. But there you get all the lovely detail that we saw earlier, and I'll just bring back the florin. So if you can imagine that level of detail on the obverse, it would have made the coin absolutely stunning. I'm afraid it's been heavily polished. But there is something special about this coin. If I just flip it round again, did you notice that? The alignment of the coin is medal alignment, not coin alignment. And coin alignment, I'll show you, if I bring back the other crown. If I turn this round left to right, see the coin's upside down? And that's normal, that's for this time, that's normal. So that's coin alignment. Most of the most of the Gothic crowns had coin alignment, and they also had edge lettering. It was called the undecimo edge. But this one has no edge lettering, just nasty marks from where it was mounted in the past. At first I thought the mount might have worn away the edge lettering, but when I realised that the alignment was metal alignment, I knew that couldn't be the case. So plain edge proof Gothic crowns are much rarer than the undecimo. They're all generally rare anyway, because the mintage was only 8,000, but roughly only 4% of them were plain edge proofs, and this is one of them. Even rarer were certain special 100% silver issue coins. Don't think this is, but it's hard to tell without one of those fancy machines. I'm going to show you just a few stills of this coin in a couple of areas. The first one showing you the centre of the coin, and you can see that it's got Oni Swab Key Mali Pence written in very tiny writing around the St George cross in the centre. Other area to focus on this coin is where it says Unita Deus, and on many of the plain edge proofs it was an inverted N over N, so there wasn't really, that's what that means, there wasn't a real gap at the bottom of that N in Unita, but there is a gap here, so it's not the N over N variety, it's the standard variety. I'm not sure which one's rarer, to be honest. If you do know, let me know. So there we go, the Gothic crown, fantastic coin. Even in this grade, I'm happy with it. No idea on value, really. It's whatever somebody wants to pay for it. If somebody wants a plain edge proof in their collection and can't afford a high grade coin, they've got an option of going for this. And if there's a bidding war, it could go high. If nobody's interested, it could be just as cheap as a very worn undecimo edge. So best guess, anywhere between £300 and £1,000. Last coin is, I don't have the half sovereign, but I do have a young head sovereign. Gold coin, 91.67% gold. I'd say near extremely fine condition. Quite a lot of these were minted, 6.4 million, but they are generally more sought after than the later Victorian sovereigns. Main difference being they have a shield reverse rather than the Georgian dragon. So this coin's in decent condition, not the best, it has got some little wear on there. Value wise, we know I've said in other videos the gold price has gone up significantly this year, and because this carries a premium on top, I'd say 890, almost £900 for that coin. So there we have it. There's the silver and gold coins that I have for the younger heads of Victoria. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to go back further in time, so the next monarch up will be William IV. I hope you can join me for that video. Thank you.